Have you ever sat down to do something important, fully determined to focus, only to find yourself checking your phone 5 minutes later? Or opening one tab, then another, and suddenly an hour is gone? You're not lazy, you're not undisciplined, you're operating in an environment that is constantly competing for your attention and winning. We live in a world designed to fragment focus. Notifications, endless scrolling, instant gratification. It's all engineered to keep your brain hooked on shallow engagement. And over time, this rewires how you think, how you work, and how deeply you can concentrate. But here's the truth. The ability to do deep work, focused, uninterrupted, cognitively demanding work, is becoming one of the rarest and most valuable skills today. It's the difference between people who stay busy and people who create real impact. And the good news is this: deep work is not a talent, it's a psychological skill, which means you can train it. In this video, I'll show you 3 powerful psychological methods that will help you master deep work, rebuild your attention span, and finally take control of your mind instead of being controlled by distractions. Let's get into it. Way 1. Train your brain with attention conditioning. Your brain is not fixed. It adapts to whatever you repeatedly do. If you constantly switch between apps, notifications, and quick dopamine hits, your brain learns to crave novelty. It becomes uncomfortable with stillness and sustained focus. This is why deep work feels hard, not because the task is difficult, but because your brain has been conditioned to avoid depth. To reverse this, you need attention conditioning. Start small. Instead of forcing yourself into hours of focus, commit to just 25 minutes of uninterrupted work. During that time, remove every possible distraction. No phone, no notifications, no multitasking. Just one task. At first, your mind will resist. You'll feel the urge to check something, anything. That's not failure. That's withdrawal from distraction. The key is to sit with that discomfort without giving in. Every time you resist the urge, you are literally rewiring your brain to tolerate focus. Over time, increase the duration. 25 minutes becomes 45, then 60, then longer. What you're doing is training your brain the same way you would train a muscle. Deep work isn't about intensity. It's about consistency in training your attention. Way 2. Use cognitive friction to block distractions. Most people rely on willpower to stay focused. That's a mistake. Willpower is unreliable. It fluctuates based on your energy, mood, and environment. If your system depends on willpower, it will eventually fail. Instead, you need to make distractions harder to access than focus. This is where cognitive friction comes in. Cognitive friction means adding small barriers between you and your distractions. For example, keep your phone in another room, log out of social media accounts, or use website blockers during your work sessions. These small obstacles create just enough resistance to interrupt impulsive behavior. At the same time, reduce friction for your work. Keep your workspace clean, your tools ready, and your task clearly defined before you begin. When distraction becomes inconvenient and focus becomes easy, your behavior starts to shift automatically, without constant mental effort. You're no longer fighting distractions. You're designing an environment where focus is the default. Way 3. Anchor your work to meaning, not motivation. One of the biggest myths about productivity is that you need to feel motivated to do deep work. You don't. Motivation is temporary. It comes and goes. If you rely on it, your focus will always be inconsistent. What actually sustains deep work is meaning. Before starting a task, take a moment to connect it to something deeper. Ask yourself, why does this matter? What does this contribute to? Who benefits from this being done well? When your work is tied to a larger purpose, your brain treats it differently. It becomes more willing to invest effort and attention. This doesn't mean every task becomes exciting, but it does mean every task becomes intentional. And intention is far more powerful than motivation. Over time, this creates a shift in identity. You stop seeing deep work as something you have to do, and start seeing it as part of who you are. Someone who values focus, depth, and meaningful output. Conclusion: in a world where everyone is distracted, the ability to focus deeply is a competitive advantage. But beyond that, it's a personal one, because the quality of your focus ultimately shapes the quality of your life. So start small, be consistent, and train your mind to go deeper than it ever has before. If you found this helpful, Consider applying just one of these methods today. Not all three, just one, because real change doesn't come from knowing more.